Hello everybody and welcome back to the new VR news. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your one channel for everything VR related. Today, we're going to be talking about the current state of PCVR. Mark Zuckerberg is looking to build the metaverse. Quest 2s were temporarily recalled. And of course, we have a long list of new games to go over. So let's not waste any more time and jump right into this video. There are links in the description if you want to jump right to a specific topic. But for now, let's stay with the game that's playing on screen right now, Everslaught. Everslaught released on Steam in early access last Friday, and I haven't played enough to give a review yet, but I will say, man does this game give a great first impression. The graphics were surprisingly good, I love the fast-paced combat, and it's a gritty gore-filled world that's right up my alley, so expect more coverage on this title in the near future. But for now, let's move on to some more games, starting with Warplanes WW1 Fighter, which has just moved from the App Lab to the official Oculus store. If you ever wanted to engage in some World War I dogfights, this title is right up your alley. There's multiple different flight modes, in case you prefer a more arcadey or simulation style of play. There's 18 different planes to choose from, 2 separate campaigns, plus single player, co-op, and PvP modes. With nearly 600 reviews, this game is currently sitting at 5 stars on the Oculus store. Speaking of good reviews, Population 1 is getting yet another special event coming this Thursday on August 5th. Previously, we took a trip to the Wild West, and now we're going to the Kingdom Age. Big Box is promising 4 special events over the next 2 months, where you'll get to choose between a good side and an evil side. Obviously, we're getting some new player skins, and you'll get to battle it out on top of a castle. Population 1 continues to deliver some intriguing updates, which keeps the player base coming back for more. Okay, so let's move on to some upcoming releases, starting with Stride for the Oculus Quest. Stride is a parkour single-player shooter that everyone likes to compare to Mirror's Edge. It was previously released for both PCVR and the PlayStation VR. The title does remain in early access, but overall it delivers a really cool experience. There's multiple different game modes, including a multiplayer one that plays similar to Gorilla Tag, but I don't believe that's coming to the Oculus Quest just yet. Well, we'll find out more when this game releases this Thursday on August 5th. Now, if you're sick of VR first-person shooters, I actually have a real-time strategy game. Carrier Commander 2 is coming to Steam on August 10th, and will be playable in both a flat screen and VR mode. You'll take control of a futuristic aircraft carrier and a squad of flying and amphibious units. You'll need to capture islands and use their resources, and battle it out against AI or human players. Carrier Commander 2 is developed by Micropose, a studio with a long history of developing strategy games, so I'm definitely curious about this title. So while we're throwing around some old school names, we have to mention ShadowGate. ShadowGate is a classic 1980s point-and-click adventure. It's been remade, reimagined, ported to cell phones, and now it's coming to VR. This is a brand new adventure designed specifically to take advantage of VR motion controls. ShadowGate, the Mines of Mithrarok, is coming to the Oculus Quest this October, and you'll be crawling through dungeons, battling creatures, avoiding traps, and searching for artifacts. Speaking of Quest games coming later this year, we have Drums Rock. We got a little teaser trailer for this game that's coming late 2021, and there's not much to talk about just yet. I was a huge fan of Guitar Hero and Rock Band, but the VR versions of these games have never captured me because they're always lacking that haptic feedback. Hopefully Drums Rock can figure out how to nail this. Okay, so we have one final game topic before we move on, and that's a sequel to Garry's Mod, potentially coming to VR. S&Box, a Source 2 sequel to Garry's Mod, is currently under development, and things seem to be speeding up. A recent post confirms that they have been able to make the title render properly for VR. This is the first step to making this a proper VR title, and it's a hurdle they were concerned they would not be able to overcome. This is some amazing news, and if you don't know the history of Gmod, it eventually spiraled off into some amazing new titles like TTT and Prop Hunt. So maybe in the future, we will be getting an amazing new VR sandbox tool that might once again spiral into some amazing new titles. Okay guys, let's move into some Facebook related news, starting with the temporary recall of the Oculus Quest 2. If you're not aware, sales of the Oculus Quest 2 were temporarily halted due to concerns over face irritation. In fact, if you own an Oculus Quest 2, you can go on the Oculus store right now and request a free silicone cover. Now, Facebook is stating that only a very small fraction of Quest 2 players experienced any discomfort, but I couldn't tell you what's actually true or not. I personally have experienced some minor irritation from my Quest 2, but nothing that lasted an extended period of time. Obviously, this would vary based on your skin type, how clean you keep your Quest 2, and how much you're gaming. I'm just glad Facebook actually acknowledged the problem and is doing something about it. Another quick update regarding the Oculus Quest 2, and that's the rumors of a 128GB model were 100% accurate. The original 64GB, $299 Oculus Quest 2 is being replaced by a 128GB model at the same price. Kudos once again to Facebook. I've spoken many times before about how the average game size is increasing, and 64GB was not going to cut it going forward. Now this sucks for early adopters, but isn't that always the case? So while we're still on the subject of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg wants to build the metaverse. If you're not familiar with the term, it's basically an interconnected, shared virtual space, which would be your gateway to basically everything. You'd access the internet, social applications, your video games, everything from this one single environment. So Facebook wants to transition from being a social media company to a metaverse company, obviously inserting themselves in all aspects of your life, but creating a much more robust experience. This whole concept of the metaverse is a combination of pipe dreams and just the natural progression of technology. The internet went from billboard systems to AOL to the tool that everyone uses now that's connected to basically everything. But to sit here and discuss the metaverse is almost on the same level as discussing Elon Musk going to Mars. We'll most likely be hanging out in the metaverse way sooner than going to Mars, but at this point, there's not much to talk about. Okay guys, it's time for us to move into our main topic, and that's PCVR Forever. PCVR is dead has been a trending topic lately, and in fact it kind of snowballed on Twitter in the last few days. Now I do have some personal opinions on this topic, but it's pretty clear to see which direction the industry is moving in. I've spoken about the majority of these items before, but let's just break a few things down, starting with my subjective opinion of PCVR over standalone VR. From an experience standpoint, PCVR is unmatched. There's not a single game on the Oculus Quest 2 that comes close to the best of what PCVR has to offer. I will gladly accept the tether to be able to play some of my favorite games, but at this point we don't even need to use a tether because there are wireless options. I also think there's an objective case to be made here that PCVR games in most cases are superior. However, we also have to acknowledge the direction the industry is moving in, and PCVR is not the future. Obviously, we see with other consoles that it's not all about specs. The Nintendo Switch clearly offers the lowest spec option, but it did extremely well in sales. In most cases, it comes down to the software offerings, and for the longest time, that's what PCVR needed: more robust, high-quality games. Even Facebook invested in this direction, funding titles like Stormland, Asgard's Wrath, and Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. Unfortunately though, this wasn't enough to create mass user adoption, and the only title to have any true impact in that manner was Half-Life Alyx. Unfortunately though, a title of that magnitude is something the majority of development studios just can't afford to gamble on. So we've now moved into the double-edged sword era of the Oculus Quest 2. The Oculus Quest has nearly quadrupled the VR player count, giving developers the opportunity to make so much more money. More money leads to bigger projects. However, the hardware limitations of the Oculus Quest limit the scope of the project. So basically, you win some and lose some, but this is very similar to what we saw with PC versus console back in the day. It's only a matter of time until the gap closes. Developers will need years to make those robust titles, and the standalone hardware will mature. So when we finally get to something like the Oculus Quest 3, we will begin to see those titles like Half-Life Alyx, Lone Echo, Boneworks start popping up on a standalone VR device. So what's going to happen to PCVR during this time period? Well, unfortunately, aspects of it will begin to stagnate. Now, there are reasons why PCVR will remain indefinitely, but they are niche. For starters, we will continue to get what is basically Quest ports. There are 3 million PCVR users on Steam, and right now it's cost effective for developers to also maintain the PCVR platform. If for some reason absolutely nothing happens in the PCVR scene for the next few years, the hardware stagnates, and the ratio of PCVR players versus Oculus Quest players gets extremely large, well then PCVR game releases is also going to slow down significantly. But there are a few reasons that will keep PCVR alive indefinitely. The first one is social applications like VR Chat and Neos VR. While VR Chat is working to make this run on the Oculus Quest, that mobile hardware just isn't there right now. Also, full body tracking and motion capture are only available for PCVR. PCVR also has the mod scene, which can keep something a decade old like Skyrim active for countless years. And finally, there will be passion projects. Some people just want to develop the best looking application or push boundaries as far as possible. To do that, you're gonna need the best hardware available. So while I'm not painting the brightest future for PCVR, the industry is going to go through some ups and downs. Facebook's dominance is undoubtedly going to have a negative impact on PCVR, but there are reasons why people will continue to use it. But the landscape will most likely change over the course of a few years, and I expect an eventual resurgence in PCVR as other companies jump in to compete in the VR sector. Microsoft usually waits until a new technology is mainstream before diving in. If they dove into VR, that would be great, because in recent years, Microsoft has been supporting PC games. But for now, what I'm gonna do, and what I recommend you guys do, is just keep enjoying what you like. I love my Valve Index. I feel like the experiences I get truly suck me in, and I'm transported to a new world. And while I don't think the Oculus Quest is bad at all, I usually just feel like I'm playing a game rather than taking this virtual journey. I also understand that the majority of people can't afford a Valve Index experience, and I much rather have something than nothing, and Facebook is making VR accessible to everyone. So just keep enjoying what you have, and trust me, everything is only gonna get better in the future. Okay everybody, that was today's new VR news. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, consider subscribing. And as always, I will see you guys on next time.